Hey, Panther Nation, I'm Joe Pringle, back again with more highlights from across Georgia State's athletics. Welcome to this week's edition of the Panther Rundown. Welcome back, Panther fans. Lots has happened since the last time we spoke. Football, volleyball, basketball, more basketball. We've got plenty to get into. Starting with football, where Georgia State put up a fight against Marshall along with one of the biggest plays in program history. Let's roll back last week's games. On the Panthers' very first offensive snap, Jordan Simmons took off for a 92-yard touchdown, the longest rushing score ever recorded at Georgia State. And he didn't stop there. Simmons finished with a crazy 164 yards on the ground, plus 64 more through the air, averaging 8.6 yards per carry. Ted Hurst was the top target with 7 catches for 74 yards, while Grant Hollier added 6 grabs and a touchdown. On the defensive side, Jartavius Flournoy showed out with 3 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 sack. One of the biggest moments came right before halftime where Braden McAllister drilled a 60-yard field goal. That ties the Sun Belt record, sets a new Georgia State record, and stands as the second longest kick in the entire nation this season. Congrats to Braden McAllister. Georgia State cut the lead to 21-18 late in the third, but Marshall closed out with 9 unanswered points to take it. Still, the Panthers dominated time of possession, converted all 4 fourth down attempts, and produced 2 scoring drives of 90-plus yards. Moving on to volleyball, the ladies closed out their regular season looking like money, picking up back-to-back wins against ULM to push their win streak to 7. Last Thursday, the Panthers opened strong and took the first set 25-21 after trailing 20-15. They carried that momentum into the second, their cleanest set of the night, winning 25-15 behind 16 kills and 3 aces. ULM stayed alive with a 25-20 win in set 3, but Georgia State shut the door in the fourth. 9 ties and 5 lead changes, but the Panthers controlled the last stretch to close it 25-21. Akira Burt put together one of her best two-way performances of the season, with 11 kills and 6 blocks. Manuela Altieri led the attack with 13 kills. Marta Lazarin held down the back row with 27 digs, and Chanel Martinez ran the offense with 25 assists and 4 aces. Then, on Friday, Georgia State came out even harder, sweeping ULM in 3 straight sets. Set 1 went 25-18 for the Panthers behind 17 kills. Set 2 tightened up, but Georgia State pulled away late to win 25-23 with 4 more aces in the frame. And set 3 was all Panthers. They never trailed, built a double-digit lead at 23-13, and finished the sweep 25-15 with 6 total blocks in the set. Courtney Smith led with 15 kills. Jaden Aker was almost unstoppable with 14 kills. Lazarin added 11 digs, and Martinez posted a match-high 27 assists. With that sweep, Georgia State finishes the regular season at 18-9 overall and 9-7 in the conference, and now has the Foley, Alabama for the Sun Belt Tournament this Thursday. I'm here with Akira Burt from the volleyball team. Hi, Akira.
Hey.
First off, congratulations on the weekend sweep. And I'm very glad I caught you before you got on the bus. Guys, Akira and the rest of the Panthers are heading off to Foley, Alabama, where they take on the first round of Sun Belt play. You have to tell me, what are the vibes? What's the energy like throughout the team before you guys get on the bus?
So the energy is real good right now. We're trying to cook it up, take the energy with us. We're gonna have to try real hard with that 5-hour bus ride. But I think once we get there and figure out the vibes and figure out the environment, I think that it'll be easy to bring the energy and take that to a dub, and then take it to another dub, and then another dub, and then the final dub. So.
Is there anybody in charge of the playlist on the way, on the ride?
You know what? We don't have a playlist for the bus, but when we get there, our grad assistant, she be on aux, and she be doing a good job.
Okay.
She be doing a good job. Good job.
But on a more serious note, you guys have won 7 straight games. What's contributing to this?
I'd say after our first win, being Marshall, for the streak, we're okay. Okay. And then we took that to Southern, or we brought it for Southern, and we're oh, okay, yeah. And we took it to App, and we're okay, yeah. So we're okay, let's keep the streak going. Right. So now it's all gas, no brakes. So we gonna take this into the tournament, and we gonna get 8 straight wins, and then 9 straight wins, and then 10 straight wins.
You had 11 kills, 6 blocks in the first match against ULM. What was clicking for you?
I think that with blocking, I think that was one of my best blocking games, only because we said something at first and then it wasn't working, so I had to adjust, and I was like, oh, after I adjusted, I was like, oh, okay, let me keep doing this, and it was working, so I was like, okay, bet.
Heading into Southern Miss, what do you think is one area in the team that you guys have sharpened the most over the last 2 weeks?
I'd definitely say our communication, just because communication is a big factor, and in the beginning it was do you go, do I go, is this my ball, is this your ball? But I feel like now we've definitely built that trust and we've built the communication, and I think that's just gonna flow way more consistent.
All right, Akira. Well, thank you for interviewing with me. That's everything I have for you. Good luck. Go Panthers! The women's basketball team wrapped up a road swing with 2 tight battles. First, a thriller at Furman, where the Panthers pushed it into overtime before falling 90-89. Georgia State fell behind early, 14-11, but came back with the late first quarter run to take a 16-14 lead. The Panthers traded runs with Furman through the first half and carried a small 31-30 lead into the break after doing much of their damage inside the paint. Morgan Robinson-Wagoo was huge in this game with 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 steals. Georgia State forced 32 Furman turnovers, turning those into 30 points, and dominated the glass with 15 second chance offensive rebounds. Georgia State's bench helped keep them afloat in the third, and a late fourth quarter run capped by a Kaylee Addy layup put the Panthers ahead 61-55. But Furman tied it at 75 to send the game into overtime, ultimately escaping with a 90-89 win. Then, at Auburn, Kaylee Addy and Crystal Henderson each put up 18 points, and Robinson-Wagoo stuffed her stat sheet with 9 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. Georgia State held Auburn to just 2 for 15 from 3, and even used a 12-0 third quarter run to take the lead. However, the Tigers were able to hold off with a 69-65 win. The Panthers now return home to host the annual Georgia State Thanksgiving tournament starting November 24th. And on the men's side, Georgia State split a pair of games this week as they begin a month-long road swing. At home versus Fort Valley State, the Panthers carried a 90-56 game victory. Georgia State opened strong, jumping out to a 24-15 lead and later riding an 8-0 run to extend the gap. They led 50-26 at the half, knocked down 16 three-pointers, controlled the glass 52-33, and forced 14 turnovers along the way. Joa Chappelle recorded a double-double with 16 points and 12 rebounds, while Micah Tucker led the team with 18 points. And Malachi Brown added 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 steals. On the road at Arizona State, the Panthers took a 39-34 lead into halftime after hitting 6 threes in the first half, then took a 48-37 lead early in the second. Malachi Brown led Georgia State with 15 points. Ja'Kai Newton had 11 and 9 rebounds. Micah Tucker added 11, and Ayuba Bertha knocked down 3 triples off the bench. And this concludes this week's episode of The Panther Rundown. Thank you all for watching. We'll check back in after the break. Make sure you're keeping up with Georgia State's athletics, and as always, go Panthers!